Hello, I'm Sarah from the Gwinnett County Public Library, and today I'm going to talk about growing peas in Georgia. This is my garden, and the last couple of years have been really difficult. The pandemic has made everybody tired. There's been closures and uncertainty, but you know what? I'm tired of being tired. The last couple of years I have not done any gardening, but this year it's a new year, and you know what? I want to get cracking. I want to start growing my garden. So we're talking about peas. Let's take a look at the condition of my garden. I'm not proud of it. This is my very messy garden. You can see I've grown things here in the past, but the weeds have utterly taken over in the last 2 years. But I tried a trick. I heard that if you put cardboard down, you can knock back the weeds. So a couple of months ago, I just got cardboard. I made sure to get rid of the plastic and anything else that's attached to the cardboard. But I've spread cardboard down and used a few old bricks to weight it down so that the cardboard didn't fly away in the weather. And let's take a look and see if it's worked and knocked the weeds down. Oh my goodness, there's a big difference. That's a lot better than where all the weeds were. So this is a really simple trick to get control of your weeds. Put the cardboard down about 8 weeks before you're ready to plant, and it certainly makes a difference.
The quality of the soil in my garden is very poor, so we've dug a trench about 3 to 4 inches deep, and we're putting fresh compost into the trench.
So we're just mixing the soil up a little bit with the compost that we just put in. And that's really all you need to do to prepare your soil ready for planting peas. That's terrific. Now let's talk about peas. I like to grow pod peas, where you eat the whole pod as well as the peas inside. I find English peas, while delicious, the yield is really disappointing for all the effort that you put in. So I'm going to grow mange tout or snow peas, and I'm going to grow sugar snap peas, which are absolutely delicious. The difference between a mange tout and a sugar snap pea is the mange tout pea has a very thin pod. It's very crispy. You can eat them raw, they're absolutely delicious, or use them in stir fries. With sugar snap peas, they're a very sweet pod, and I like to pick them off the vine, they're so delicious. Now the trick in growing peas in Georgia is getting them in early enough. And I like to get my peas in before the second week in February. This is because peas like cool weather, they like a lot of moisture and they like the cold. As soon as it starts getting hot in Georgia, they'll go crispy and they won't be happy at all. So that's why we're preparing the soil now with the peat, with the compost, and we're going to plant directly in the soil about 1 inch deep and about 2 or 3 inches apart. Now, if you're going to do a lot of rows, it's really important that you have them about 18 inches apart, because otherwise, as the peas grow, they'll knit together as they get taller. But not everybody has the luxury of a large vegetable garden, and I'll show you how to grow them in tubs a little bit later on. So here's a trick if you're getting behind in schedule. These are the sugar snap peas, dry and ready to plant directly in the ground. If you find time's getting away from you and you want to speed up the germination process, you can put the peas in water overnight and they swell up really quickly. Water, of course, and warmth is what's important for germination. And you can see how big the peas have got just by putting them in water overnight. So I'm actually going to plant my peas directly in the soil because we're nice and early in the season. But if you find things are getting a little bit behind, you can soak them to speed up the germination process. And germination for peas takes between 7 and 30 days. So about 1 inch deep and 2 to 3 inches apart. Popping them in.
The cardboard has also helped the ground to be lovely and soft.
Now, if you don't have the luxury of a large space of land where you can grow a lot of peas, You can grow them in tubs or like here in a grow bag. Of course, peas need to grow up something. So I'm going to make a wigwam in this bag that I've got soil and compost. And I've got very wonky poles, but they're not going to, the peas aren't going to mind that. I'm just going to tie them at the top. And you can put these on a patio, or your front porch, or anywhere really that you've got room. But they will do just fine in a tub or a grow bag. Now I'm going to plant some more seeds ready to grow. That's it. Very easy to do.
When your peas have been planted, I tamp them in by firming the soil around the seeds. I'm using a rake here. You can do it by hand. I don't have a sprinkler, so I'm just scattering the water over the top, just to make them moist and that they'll continue to germinate and sprout. I've been so pleased with how much the cardboard has knocked back the weeds in my garden. I've laid some more cardboard boxes down either side of my row of peas to keep the weeds under the control. I really like this. Peas grow very well in Georgia, whether they're snow peas, sugar snap peas or regular English garden peas. But the key is to plant them early enough in the year so they produce while the weather is still cool. An early planting, like in the second week in February, gives you enough time to plant a second crop 2 weeks later, and they will mature and it'll still be cool. If the quality of your soil is poor, prepare the soil by digging it over a little and adding good compost. Germination times vary with peas, depending on temperature and how much water they get, but you can expect it to take between 7 and 30 days. Don't forget that trick of speeding the process up by soaking the peas overnight in water before you plant them. That speeds things up. And of course, peas like to climb, so they will need support, either a pole or a trellis or even some netting, just something to support the plants. And if you're interested in learning more about composting, here are some suggested titles in the Gwinnett County Public Library catalogue.